Thank you for the feedback. Let's talk to them.
About the first scene. And then I also feel like it's the first spot for changing. Oh, I didn't bring the.
That's all right. I can.
Out.
That'll work.
Knock on wood.
Oh, it's all right. Little authority there, huh? Okay, so I know the agenda says 6, but technically we're supposed to start at 5:30. So we're gonna go ahead and call the Budget Committee to order. Started off, for those of you who do not know me, hi, I'm Mayor Doug Premer, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the City of Hermiston and Hermiston Urban Renewal Agency's annual Budget Committee meeting for the 2026-2027 fiscal year. We appreciate our community members and staff for taking the time tonight to shape our city's financial future. Our goal is to balance our growing community's needs with responsible fiscal management. Tonight, we will review department proposals, discuss key infrastructure investments, and ensure that your tax dollars are working efficiently and transparently for Hermiston. And as a reminder, please set your phones or other personal communication devices to silent. And I want to thank you for your dedication in keeping our city a great place to live, work, and grow. And so with that, let's get started. At this time, we're gonna have the committee and staff introductions. Guess we could start right there.
Byron Smith, City Manager.
Ignacio Palacios, bean counter. Finance Director.
Doug.
Jackie Myers, City Council.
Council, City Council.
Come on, you two.
Come on, Rod.
Buddy.
That is Rod Harden.
Roy Davis, citizen.
Paul Wolverton, part of the committee.
Josh Roberts, counselor.
Randy Gerard, Budget Committee.
Jackie Linton, counselor.
Roy Brown, city councilor.
Dave Hanson, part of the committee, budget committee.
Alan Hayward, City Councilor.
Brian Meisner, committee member.
David McCarthy, City Councilor.
Richard Tubby, city attorney. Brandon Arms, Parks and Recreation Director. Glenn Spencer, planning director. Mark Morgan, assistant city manager.
I know you can talk a whole lot louder than that. I've heard it.
Davis, Madden City Police Department.
Gordon Stanley, IT Director.
Mark Rhodes, Library Director.
All right. So again, appreciate everybody being here and doing this vital service that we are about to embark upon. So one of the first things that we have to do is elect a chairperson and a secretary. So the committee makes that selection. Therefore, I will take nominations for the chairperson.
Nominate Brian Meisner.
Nominate Brian Meisner.
Okay. Brian Meisner has been nominated. Do you accept the nomination, Brian? Okay. Any others? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor of Brian Meisner as the chairperson?
Aye.
Those opposed? With that,
It's gonna be real official.
try not to get him too many times. I do.
Try to.
Turn it over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We'll get started then with, I'll accept nominations for secretary of the Budget Committee.
I would nominate Mr. Paul Wolverton.
Okay. Okay. Any others? Wolverton has been nominated and seconded as secretary. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Congratulations, sir. All right, first order of business is the budget message from City Manager Smith.
And just a reminder, as you do ask, since we are streaming this on YouTube, when you ask a question, if you can get to a mic so that the people, if there's people online, we're hoping there's people online, so that they can hear the questions. Well, it's good to be here. Glad to see everybody again. I'm going to back up because I want to be able to see everybody here. All right. So we're going to start off with just taking a look at our current fiscal year. Where are we at financially? What are some of the projects that we've accomplished so far? Then we'll kind of go through an overview and an introduction to the budget. Then we'll start with the enterprise funds, finish with the general fund, and then we'll have any further discussion. If there's a question as we go along, let's go ahead and try to ask it while we're there thinking about it. That way we can just address it. So we finished a number of large projects this year. So the library was recently completed. There's a great shot of the artwork over the interior stairwell, and then we just put the final piece of art out in front there just last week. So really a good project. We're seeing a lot of people, the numbers kind of return going back to the library. So we're really happy with how that's gone, and just hopefully the community continues to utilize that resource. The Public Safety Center also just completed more recently, and the police department's getting settled in, and you know, always finding a few things that need to get fixed or you wish you would have done different, but that everything seems to be going well. So another thing isn't really our project, but it impacts the budget. We'll talk about that a little further on when we get to the Enterprise Zone Fund. But this is a picture on the upper left is the first campus, and it's got all 4 buildings up and operational, and that's the campus that generated the revenue that's in the current fiscal year's budget as well as in the one we're going to talk about tonight. The campus in the bottom right, off a little bit in the distance there, is just a little bit behind it. So they did not get occupancy in time for it to impact this budget, but they do have occupancy on at least one of the buildings there. So it will start to impact the city's budget starting next fiscal year, so 27-28. So this is another big project. It doesn't look super exciting. It's just a nice little building out there, but underneath that building is a 1,500-foot deep well that is going to function as in our aquifer storage and recharge, a reuse project. So we're going to be able to inject treated water into the aquifer and then be able to draw it out and use it both basically for industrial use in that area, but it'll also be available to the city's water system as well going forward. So we're still in the midst of some testing and things like that. It's not fully operational, but we're mostly completed and are going through the state required testing at this point.
Where is that located?
That is at the corner of 9th and Feedville Road. Then this is the construction project at EOTech for the RV park that we've made agreements with Amazon to build. So this is what we're calling the north portion of it. And they're still on track to have this completed by fair this year. So that will be utilized hopefully this year. And then the other one is currently out for bid. Contractors are reviewing the plans. It's on some property that's closer. It's on Airport Road, right next to the main driveway going into EOTech. All right. Just where are we right now as far as the current fiscal year? We're 83% of the way through the year. And when we look at comparing to budget, revenues are approximately 80%. Property taxes are 103%. Franchise fees, particularly from UEC, are over budget by over $500,000. But business licenses were over 150% of the budget. Traffic fines are at 93% of the budget, with still that remainder to come. So a lot of our main revenue sources are doing really well, and so the general fund is doing really well from a revenue standpoint. Expenses are about 80% of budget, so we're right in the right ballpark. And we have two of the general fund departments that are slightly over the year-to-date percentage. If you're just going to predict pulling 83%, by the time we get to the end of the fiscal year, we expect both of them to come back in under the budget. We don't expect it to be over. It was just timing of some of the expenses made it kind of from a year-to-date standpoint look odd. Come on. There we go. So some of the other funds, the Enterprise Zone Fund, this is our first annual payments into the Enterprise Zone for a project that was in the city limits. We have been receiving some funding for the Lamb Weston project that we did in conjunction with the county that's outside of city limits. And so we received money from AWS, and then we've sent that out to all the special districts that are affected by an Enterprise Zone exemption. The utility fund, we're right underneath. We're kind of right in line. We're a little behind if you look at the 83%, but 69% of the budget of revenues have come in, 70% of expenses have gone out on the utility fund. So that's really tracking right along right there. Oh. Yes.
Just had a question on, it was the previous slide with the revenues right now, just about the franchise fees.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we attribute these franchise fees to the big power users? Is it, why are we
Yes.
getting more?
Yes.
Okay, this is like much more, right?
Correct.
I was looking in your document, it's 60% more increase in the franchise fees?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mhm. And that's, remember, the council decided during this year to lower our franchise fee rate, and still we're tracking well above what we anticipated. So again, talking about capital projects, we've talked about most of these already. So want to start off, thank you to the finance department. Both Ignacio and Tasha are here. Thank you for all the work they put into getting this document together. Thank you to the department heads for their budgets, and also, and mostly, thank you to all of you for being here to take a look at it and help us to make sure we're doing things the best that we can. So I don't know, there's a few of you who will maybe have a physical budget. If not, we will be talking about page numbers and the tabs from the physical budget, but the page numbers can also help you with your electronic one if you're looking that way. So one of the things that this idea really just recently kind of stuck in my head, the city of Hermiston is like a conglomerate. We are not a company that all makes the same thing, and we're just different divisions that do different parts. We have very diverse lines of business. So a police department has very different service to a library, to a wastewater department, all of those. A prominent company in the private sector that would be similar is Berkshire Hathaway. You know, they own Dairy Queen and they own the BNSF Railroad. Those are very different businesses. And so sometimes I think people don't realize that we do such different things, and so we have to approach each of those in a little bit of a different way. So city budget versus a home budget. One of the things that's the most weird about city budgets is we use these individual funds. Each one of those funds has different characteristics, different revenue sources, different types of expenses. For example, the utility fund is 100% water and sewer utility rates. That's the revenue, and that's what we spend it on. And based on our charter, that's what we're required to spend those revenues on. Our reserve fund is a little bit, it's kind of like our savings account. So we are required to budget every penny that the city has. So even if we're saving money for a project, it has to show up in our budget somewhere. And part of the way we do that is in our reserve fund. And it gives us a chance to accumulate revenue for bigger projects, so we don't always have to borrow money for the large projects we do. And another thing that these funds do is it inflates our budget. So if we're going to transfer money, for example, from the utility fund to pay the general fund to do our billing, because that's what all of our utility employees are, the people who are out there fixing things, making the systems work. But the billing is all done by the finance department staff. And so we make a transfer from the utility fund into the general fund to pay for the finance staff. Well, that gets counted twice because it's a cost to the utility fund and it's a revenue to the general fund. So in our total budget, that's counted twice. So that's something, again, it's different than what a lot of people think about when we think about our personal finances. State of Oregon has a lot of local budgeting laws. We work within all those parameters. Now, here's our population over the last, 1930, is that when that is? 1920. Long time, 1920. So we're at 20,296. As you can see, we've kind of been floating over just over the 20,000 for the last 3 years. The Portland State University, they have lots of rules about how they count population, and they don't like to hear us talk about it with them. I don't know. So it's gone down and up, even though every year we've added more housing and every year there's more people that should be living here. But anyway, we just take that number. That's the best number we can get right now. So our assessed valuation has also been pretty slow and steady. This last year, though, we took a big jump, about 12% this year, from 1.3 billion to 1.48. So, but over that time period showing on the graph, it's about 4.7% annual growth in our assessed value. So again, slow but steady. So overall, our local economy doing well. Like I mentioned earlier, buildings are operational on the second Amazon campus in the city. We've got dirt moving on a 250-plus unit market rate apartment complex. And in 2025, we had over 100 individual housing units, permits pulled and moving. So continuing, again, slow but steady. We're not going super flashy like maybe the Central Oregon Bend area has had a lot of kind of more rapid growth, but this is something that we can keep up with, and we can keep things going in a good direction. So our budget overall, all the funds is down 4%. So last year is 128 million, now down to 123. And again, this goes to that double counting thing we had. So last year we created a building department fund. It used to be in the general fund. We moved it into its own fund because there's some state restrictions on how we spend building permit revenue. And we wanted to be able to be more clear that we weren't spending that on other functions of the city. But what that did is created, again, a $4 million out and a $4 million in, and so that was a little bit inflated. But also on top of that, we completed the large projects I talked about, also a number of other water and sewer related projects, so it's down a little bit. But our activity in the city really isn't that much less. It was just that really the building fund is the biggest piece. So the budget is built on a number of assumptions and a number of not just assumptions, but real life rates. So first, we always try to take a look at the vision and values and goals of the city and make sure we're moving towards all of those things. This contains a 3% wage increase for all employees. It includes a 2.16% PERS rate increase. It includes about a 4% property and liability insurance increase. And this is the big one that's painful. 27% increase on our health insurance. And this is one we're going to spend this next year figuring out if there's some other options. I mean, we can lower the coverage and pay less, but we have some contractual obligations to the police department. And so to give us some time to talk through what those options might look like, we're recommending we go with this for this year. It doesn't start until January. That's when our insurance year is. It's a calendar year. So it'll only be 6 months of the year impacted by that. But we've got to figure out if we're in the best spot or if we need to make a change and do something different with insurance, because it's getting expensive.
Question, could you put a real cost? What's the real number on what you think the health 27% means? Is it 200,000, 500,000, 1,000, or?
I think it's in the it's in the $200,000 to $400,000 range for everybody in the city.
Okay. And the same thing for the longevity. What's that look like?
Okay, so I had those that So, and I want to explain this a little bit. So one of the things that we are, we're always challenged with trying to keep good employees, attract good employees. And so we're looking at some opportunities of trying to make it a more attractive place to work. And so the numbers right now are included in the budget to implement a longevity pay and a increased retirement benefit to the employees. And those haven't been approved as a policy yet by the council, but I felt it was important to figure out, can we pay for it before I go ask the council to approve it as a benefit. So let's say you approve the budget and the council approves the budget, they could still say no to the benefits, and we'll just save money in the budget. It doesn't hurt us to say it's in the budget, but we can show that it fits and we can make it work. So for the longevity pay, it's about 160,000 for everybody, and for the retirement benefit, it's 124,000. No, it includes everybody, all the employees. Yes. Oh, sorry. Jackie and then Roy.
Okay, that was one of the questions I had sent to you that you had answered and you said you was gonna talk about tonight. And the longevity pay, I'm still not, I know you said that the council will have an opportunity to vote on it.
Mm-hmm.
Get all the figures and stuff together. So that means that'll be extra money that will go into 401 K plan, for like a retirement type thing.
Yeah, I can explain a little bit. So on the longevity pay, what it would do, it would, for everybody who's been with the city for over 10 years, there would be an extra 1%. Everybody over 15 years, an extra 2%, and over 20 years, a 3%. And then on the retirement side, the 401A, so we've always offered a 457K plan, and we have a match available for employees. We don't get a lot of employees that take advantage of it. And this 401A plan, we learned through our negotiation process with the police union, we learned a little bit more that if the city just puts it into the retirement account under this type of a plan, it's more beneficial to us because we're not paying anything else on top of it. And the employee gets the full benefit of the funding. It's different. I don't have all the details of how it's exactly different, but it's beneficial to both the employee and the city to do the match, rather than a match, have it just be a contribution. And so that's why we're proposing it this way. It would be a change. We would eliminate the match on the 457. They could still contribute to a 457, but we would no longer match that. We would only do this if that's what's approved.
Okay, my last question is,
Mhm.
for the health insurance, how much do each employee pay? Do they pay a percentage? Like, do they pay 50%, then the city pays 50, or
All the employees pay 10%.
10%?
Yeah,
So the other 90% is by the city?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Roy.
My question is about the insurance. I'm really glad you pointed it out. I saw it in your report, so I was gonna ask a little bit about it. But what do you attribute this 27%? What do you attribute it to? Is it stuff going on federally? Is it stuff with insurance markets
It's
wanting to leave the
it's
state?
insurance markets everywhere because we're part of the CIS pool for health insurance, and I know that for a couple years, they used some of their savings to buy down the increases, and then this year they gave us the full increase. And we just got big enough that where we're in our own, we're classified on our own, and we've had some large medical expenses that caused our rates to be a little higher.
Follow up on that, do we anticipate any further increases along the lines of 27, or is it gonna be?
I don't know that I can predict. They haven't given us a sense of what they're looking at.
Excuse me, what's CIS?
City County Insurance Services. It's a pool for city and county governments. Mm-hmm. I think we could, I mean, I think we're big enough now to give it a try, but there's just not a lot of options, especially in our region. That's the problem. Yeah, that covers this, that has a good network of doctors and providers. So that's our challenge. All right. Okay, this is just the kind of more of a process. We have this is our pay plan with all of our classifications, different ones. We try to do a salary study on a regular basis to make sure we're competitive. We're in the process of finishing one that we would look at implementing not this budget year, but the following. So with some of the staffing changes that are proposed, so when a couple of years ago when we had the difficulties in the budget, we froze some positions in the library and in Parks and Rec. Last year we unfroze some of them. This proposed budget unfreezes all of the rest of that, so they would return to the staffing level they were like 3 years ago, 3 years ago. We're adding we're proposing to add a 3/4 time records clerk position in administration to help us get and digitize all of our records. We're proposing to add a position both in water and recycled water. All right, now we're going to go through each of the enterprise funds. So IT, it's on page 103 if you're looking in your book. Their budget's about 1.7 million. And we have $1.2 million of customer cost or customers paying into the fund. We pay about almost 300,000 in. And if you're looking at the rest of that is savings in the fund. Again, that 1.7 has to include all the money, even though we wouldn't be planning to spend all of it. So we currently have 7 employees. This budget also contains last year we got approval to have an 8th employee if we got contracts that would support that. We haven't ever done that. We're asking to keep that open position, that if we had additional contracts that we could add this 8th person to provide the additional services. Any questions? No, no, I think we're still tracking right around that the 7 makes the most sense. Particularly, we haven't brought these to the council yet, but one of our customers is proposing to kind of drop back a little bit on some hours. They're bringing on some internal staff, and so we think we're still right on the 7. So, oh, Roy, go ahead.
Just to follow up on the counselor's comment, I mean, as another FTE person's probably another 100,000 with salary and insurance. So I guess, do we have a feeling that there might be that much significant work that we would need a second person? That I'm assuming that's why we're keeping it there, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've been approached by different people at different times. We've had, one of our major customers is the city of Umatilla, and they continue to add hours. And so we just want to have the flexibility to be able to respond to that if if a combination of Morrow County and the city of Umatilla added a chunk of hours, we would need another person. And so we just want to be able to respond.
Okay, thank you. That extra information makes me feel more confident in keeping something like that there. We've been doing a really good service to a lot of different partners, so that's great to hear.
I'm also in favor of the service we can provide, but is this in lieu of other departments that are having asks that can't be met because we're holding this position open?
No, because the IT department is fully self-funded.
Okay.
They operate off of the money that comes in from the contracts and what we contribute.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Street fund, page 67, $2.9 million operational budget. The projects are on page 116. The largest one and the one we've been talking about this for a long time, but it's really going to happen this year. Just wait till you try to get to Home Depot. But
Election?
I had to put it that way.
and so that's about almost a $2 million project there at Gear and Harper. We're also going to replace the bridge at Southeast 10th, or I'm sorry, the culvert. I don't know which one is it really, Mark? He left. So anyway, those are the two major projects we have on the street side. Yes. And also with Gear and Harper, we got a big grant from the state to do first place from Hermiston Avenue to Elm. And because we couldn't work out all the details with the railroad on the sidewalk on that side, the state told us that we could use what was left to do this project. So really, this is mostly going to be state money. So that turned out really well for us. All right, utility funds, starting with recycled water, $9.7 million. The major capital projects. We're still working on a cooling discharge pipeline for AWS. And I'll remind everybody, whenever I put a project up there that says AWS, that means they're paying for all of it. Design, everything. So we're working on that, working through a permit with the state and some other details. Lift number 7, rebuilding that, it's almost $1 million. That's a lift station. That's where we got to get it from a low spot into a higher spot so it can flow downhill to the plant. Gravity sewer replacement in Evelyn, about $350,000. And then one of our big projects is to, in our latest permit with the state for the discharge, they were concerned about too much chlorine getting into the water that we're discharging or staying in the water. Because we put chlorine in and then we take it out before it goes out, but they don't want that residual to be too high. So in our permit, we agreed that we would replace our chlorine process with a UV process. And so it's very expensive and it's going to increase our operational costs as well, but the state was requiring it, so that's the path that we're taking. Recycled water treatment plant. Sorry.
And in regards to that one, Byron, originally we had put in for a grant that was shot down, basically.
Yeah, we had applied through Senator Merkley and Senator Wyden's office to get some federal funding. In this cycle, we did not get it, so we're going to have to continue on and fund it ourselves. We're going to find another project we're going to ask them for money for, but we need to meet the deadlines in our permit, so we can't wait. Ugh. All right, utility fund, the water side, the water's budget's 10.1 million. Capital projects, system expansion of the RWS, that's the regional water system. That's the system that has a pipe in the Columbia River, brings it all the way up to Feedville and 207 and treats it there. And that will be the system that will function in conjunction with the ASR project and put treated water in the ground and give us the ability to pull it out at different times of the year. So this is the final, really starting to be the final pieces of that project. Orchard main water replacement, that's going to be going on. It's going to start in this current fiscal year and finish towards the end of this calendar year. So it's in both years, but that's going to be a major from 7th to 11th. We're going to replace a water line. Well, number 6, upgrading the chlorination, and well, number 4, upgrading the controls. And then a booster station that is in View Drive, about 9th, 8th, needs to be upgraded. And so that's in our plans for this year. Hermiston Energy Services, $13.9 million budget. We're continuing on a construction work plan that's eliminating some of the oldest wire and some of the underground that was done by Pacific Power still. We're getting close to finishing that up. I want to give a heads up, probably more to the council, but with the drought conditions that we have this year, there's a potential that BPA is going to give us an overcharge. And so we're going to have to deal with that sometime probably in the fall. Maybe not until the first of the year, but just wanted to put that on everybody's radar that something out of our control could impact what we choose to do with rates. So
I'm going to ask, what's an overcharge? How does that look like? Or I guess, why would that happen? And I get the drought, I guess
they just,
bigger, or?
well, it's because there's just not as much water going over the dam, so they can't produce as much water, so their revenue's going down, and they can't sell. Usually they're able to sell the additional water above what they've committed to the municipals and the public utilities. They can sell that, and that helps keep their costs down for us, but they won't have that extra because there won't be that extra water.
So we can anticipate maybe a higher raise or raise in rates from BPA?
Yes.
Okay.
And it should be a short duration as long as the drought doesn't last a long time.
So
It'll be everybody. Yeah, everybody who's a BPA customer. Yes.
Basically, it's just a short-term surcharge.
Yes.
Okay.
But we don't know how long it will last.
Hopefully it's short.
Right. Hopefully it's short term. All right. This is our newest fund, building inspections, operational budget of 6.1 million. But again, because building funds can only be spent on building related things, they have basically $4.1 million in reserve that they don't plan to use at all this year, or that we're not proposing that they spend at all this year. The positive thing, and it will fit within the $2 million operating budget that they're working with, is we have been down a commercial electrical inspector. And we think he signed a letter that he was going to come. So hopefully, and that will reduce our costs because we've been having to pay the state to do those inspections, and they are quite pricey. So this should be better off for our operations. July 1st.
Okay, so you're saying that the 4.1 million is just being put up to the side just in case something happens that's needed.
Right. Or, that's where, when we need to buy another vehicle or other things, we are able to tap into that money for that.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, EOTech, currently the total budget's 6.6 million. That their operations is about $1 million. And then we're still working on the RV park construction. So that's the other portion of their budget. And yeah, I mentioned that already. Yeah.
Question on EOTech. obviously, to me, it looks like we're running a loss at EOTech. Is that correct?
We are running I mean, we're sending transient lodging tax there.
Uh-huh.
That's filling the gap between their event revenue and the other.
But it's not a positive operating
That's right.
opportunity. Okay. And you say that in the write-up on it that we want to make that we want to market it out to the communities and nation as a destination for events, but you've only budgeted $30,000 for marketing there. It's a very hard thing to do.
It is because, and it's been a tough debate because that means more subsidy from the city to pay for the additional marketing. So we've been in some discussions about how to do that. Yeah. Yeah. So we've been looking at some different ways that we could do that. But it's a challenge. Okay, the Enterprise Zone Fund, page 139. So this proposed budget is the second year of Amazon Web Service Enterprise Zone payments. And this proposed budget has only the one campus payments. This fund receives revenue from two sources, the Lamb Weston Enterprise Zone Agreement and the AWS agreements. And again, I mentioned this earlier. So our expenses, so there's a couple of different things that we paid for a number of big projects with borrowing some money. So we're paying for that out of this enterprise zone. We have the City Hall, the civic projects, that's the library, the public safety center, the build out of the Harkenrider Center. We also built the Northeast Water Tower using these funds. And then in the Lamb Weston agreement, they wanted to dedicate a certain amount to parks and rec services as part of their payments. So that's a payment we make each year out of the Enterprise Zone Fund.
Is it true
Oh.
that your enterprise zone funds
Sorry,
went up,
Becky.
what, almost $5 million this year? Is
it true that what?
that the revenues from the enterprise zones went up about $5 million extra this year? Did I read that right?
I'm gonna look.
It looks like it went
Mark's
from
nodding.
about 5 to 10.
Okay, yes, if Mark's nodding his head. Yes, about $5 million.
$5 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Yeah, it's been a great resource for us. Jackie?
My question, or just for an understanding, so the money coming from Amazon and Lamb Weston, that's it, is that in lieu of property taxes?
It is in lieu of property taxes, yes.
Thank you.
And in the case of Lamb Weston, it's in lieu of property taxes that we would never receive anyway, because it's outside the city limits. So it's a extra benefit. So these are the largest of the external payments that we make under the agreement we have. The county, fire district, both of the school districts that are affected, and then but really we make a payment to all of the special districts who levy a tax in that area. These are just the largest ones. Any other questions before I go to the general fund? Okay. So this year, the general fund is almost the same, $35,000, $35,887 difference. So why is it the same? Well, some of it goes back to, again, we had a $4 million expense that looked like it was from the general fund, but it was really just moving money. Then we also have returned a bunch of library and park staff. We've also gotten to closer to full staffing of the PD that we haven't had prior to this. And our COPS grant, we're getting down to the last, this is the last portion of that COPS grant, so that's gone down every year. So we're moving into the full cost of the 3 officers we added. So how are we covering the costs of that? Well, we have the increase we talked about earlier from the franchise fees from UEC in particular. We anticipate as they energize more of those buildings on each Amazon campus, that the franchise fees will continue to go up substantially. So we're trying to be conservative in our estimating, but it looks like it will continue to grow. This is, again, the second year of an in lieu tax revenue. So you'll notice that if you look at the general fund revenues, you have property taxes, and then there's an in lieu. So we get a share of that in lieu property tax revenue outside of the, or we've just dedicated a portion that will go into the general fund and kind of start to help the general fund a little bit at a time. Also, another benefit, I don't know, some of the folks who get pulled over might not think it's a benefit, but the traffic fines are doing well because we are fully staffed and we have a traffic officer who's very active. So make sure people are staying at the speed limit. And now I'm just going to highlight a few of the departments in the general fund. City manager legal, page 33. One of the big reasons it went up fully is that we have a full year of our safety and risk management position that we started last year, in this current fiscal year. And we have a number of computer replacements that have come up during this year. Planning department, we're completing our TSP, Transportation System Plan update. That's partially contained in there. The transportation, that's where we do our pay for transit and our taxi. We have a slight reduction in the taxi contract, and so it's staying pretty stable. The airport went down slightly because we had actually anticipated this happening in this current year sooner, but it took a little longer for Life Flight to open their building down on the hospital campus. But we anticipate fuel sales to go down because of that. Okay. Then in all of there's a number of different funds that are departments that are related to Parks and Recreation. We're anticipating some increase in rentals and programs, but we also did fully return all of the staffing that we had in the past. So we hope to see additional program offerings as well. Library, again, returning to our prior staffing levels. We also budgeted a little extra money to help us with a recruitment because Mr. Rose is retiring at the end of August, 1st of September this year. So we'll be working on a recruitment for the replacement. And then the court budget went down quite a bit because of the decrease or because of the elimination of prosecution of misdemeanors. And so that's, I know we had a long talk about it with the council. It's not our preferred avenue, but we were kind of put in between a rock and a hard place. Yeah.
At some point down the road, do we have an idea of if the stars align right and we can bring that back, how we're going to deal with that budgetarily? Because we're cutting 200 and some thousand out of it.
Yeah, I mean, we would, if the stars aligned within this budget year, we would probably have to do a supplemental budget.
Okay.
Police, we anticipate being fully staffed this year, so that budget is kind of built out. Be happy to answer any other questions.
In regards to the police staffing, what FTE does that add to get to fully staffed?
Yeah, what's total and then how many are open?
And go start July 1st, and that puts us
Okay,
So we already have somebody for the position, they just haven't been.
Right.
Okay, perfect.
Number 6 of your budget, page 6 of your budget numbers, say, geotech is referring to a full-time administrative position. What do you mean by that?
so for a while, we had cut back to their administrative office support was a 3/4 time position. We moved that to a full-time, trying to help us again a little bit with the marketing, but also just making sure we stay covered up there.
That is
Right. Jackie.
I just wanted to say thank you. I sent you about 16 questions or maybe a little, couple more than that. But anyway, that's beside the point. I just want to say thank you because you responded to me in a timely manner and explained it well enough for me to understand the budget even more. I did go through like normal line by line, but when it's accounting, you don't have a accounting degree, it's a little bit on the difficult side.
Yeah, no doubt. No.
So thank you very much for your response.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
And I tried to copy everybody here on that, so.
You have under Parks and Rec, you're stating that you're going to try to improve the city's look by putting in more trees. And you say that they're getting a grant from the USDA. Do you have any idea how much that would be?
Yeah, we actually already have that grant. We've been working on it. It was $1 million to start with. But with all of the upheaval at the federal level, we've kind of just done a little bit at a time because we have to seek reimbursement for those. And as we've been able to continue to do that, we've kept doing a little bit more of the project. So we're still hopeful that we can get through the whole $1 million, but we're going to go as far as we can.
And one other question, under Hermiston Energy Services Fund, you have $100,000 for consultants. Is that earmarked for the fiber optic program, or what's that for?
I mean, we use a lot of different consultants, both legal and more technical. And so there was a little bit of that we've spent on studying that. And actually that'll be at the council's next meeting to give them an update where we're at and kind of seek guidance going forward.
And they have a $1.4 million contingency in that fund as well. Is that just a place to stack money, or is there something we should know about?
Well, I mean, electrical equipment is expensive.
Right.
And so if we had an emergency happen and we needed to spend money, that's why it's there.
So I know that the pool has been approved. I know there was discussion on Monday. I know there's talk about it.
Mhm.
Is there any money in the budget for?
There's no money in this for the discussed, I was to say the discussed aquatic center.
Yes.
Yeah, we're discussing it, right? I don't know. I'm not going to say it's proposed even. I think we're still talking about it. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I have
Okay.
two amounts I was kind of curious about, both in the police operations budget. There's a $20,000 increase for the officer wellness program.
That was a shifting money for miscellaneous contractual services coordinator. The majority of that was a shift of 15,000. I wanted to capture officer wellness a little bit better.
Perfect. Great, perfect. And $25,000 for phone. You've not had any up until now, and now it's $25,000 for phone.
We eliminated public safety center budget, shifted all of those expenses. So
Yeah, I did forget to.
telephone in the police operation.
Okay.
Yeah, I should have highlighted that. So in the past, we'd had a separate budget for the building, the Public Safety Center building. And so we paid all the utilities and everything out of that. Just as we were kind of looking at it, we felt like that wasn't the best way to do it anymore. So because now actually we've separated the utilities more cleanly with the fire district and everything. So now it's incorporated into the public safety budget or the police department budget, and we'll just be doing away with the public safety center budget.
I got two questions for you. One of them is about like a line item, and then another one's just a little different, but it's on Parks and Rec.
Okay?
I'm on 27 right now, page 27, general fund resources.
Okay?
My question is just to the two line items, adult recreation and pool income discounts. So I see that we don't have adult recreation, at least any money allocated for that. I was also wanting to sign up for adult basketball, man. I was just curious. I don't know if it just maybe you guys moved it around or if there is anything in store for adult recreation.
Yeah, this year we're, with the increase in staff, we're looking to get our adult programs back. And we started with our adult Easter egg hunt this last month, which was a great success. So we're looking to add more into there.
But
So
the
we
proposed
didn't-
budget is zero, though.
But these are revenues, so we didn't
Oh,
we
okay.
didn't plan because we didn't know how well they'd be received as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. When I saw that, I was thinking, I'm like, is that all adult recreation that the Parks and Rec has to offer?
Well, these are just this is just the revenues that we're anticipating from any adult programming.
Okay. Thank you. Then the other one I had on the line item, which maybe I'm just didn't read it the right way, but was the pool discounts. Are we still offering that to the community?
Yes, the discounts are kind of a $0, but any of those discounts that do come in, they're located and allocated there.
Okay.
If you notice, the past years, they're negative.
Right.
So that it's like that's a debit to that account.
Okay, you can't really
Overall,
anticipate it. You just
right.
go ahead and, okay,
We don't know how many we'll grant discounts to and all of that.
makes sense. Last one wasn't a line item. Honestly, I typically don't really look at line items. I'll let you guys kind of use your expertise to go about what you're going to go about, unless something obviously looks eye-popping, which I didn't think anything did. The only thing I would want to comment on is just on Parks and Recreation, or maybe it's just under landscaping. I know I've had conversations with you about this, City Manager Smith, but I would like to see more allocation for beautification around the city, whether that's parks, whether that's just everything in our area. I think all of that would come out to not even a fraction of a percent, but that would make a world of a difference if we were able to put a little bit more resources behind that. So I don't know. I mean, I've read the narrative about the plans that we have going on, but I would like to see more of an emphasis on that, whether you bring it forward this budget cycle or the next one, a little bit more something to make a lot of a difference. So that's where I'm at, and that's what I'd like to see out of the budget.
Well, and I appreciate your thoughts. If we continue to see the kind of increases we think we're going to see, we might be able to find additional money. We just haven't had money to dedicate outside of mowing the grass that we have and taking care of the things that we have and not getting any more aggressive. So hopefully we will be able to find a way to do that.
No, thank you. And I get the financial responsibility. I mean, we've already said that we've finally have two departments that are fully funded because of a couple of years ago. I mean, this whole entire budget committee sat on it, and we saw, like, you know, the not great results that came about that, and it made a lot of departments have to pinch for a while. And so I'm happy to see that the full funding and revenue is back to those departments, but and that might already show some changes already, but I would like to see a little bit more of that, more of a priority.
Anything else? All right, well, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Is there any public comments? Anyone here? Yes, I would assume so. Please state your name and your address, please, for the record. Thank you.
I turned the mic off, sorry.
My name's Krista Van Veen. I live at 764 West Alder. I just had a couple questions. What is the employee turnover rate currently?
I don't have a calculated number.
I'm asking because it seems like some of the expenses are in the budget because we want to ward off high turnover. We want to
I
retain.
think it's more about warding off and not that we're experiencing a lot, but we've seen with the employers in the community, we see a lot more people being enticed to go other places.
What's the average tenure of employers or employees?
Well, when we looked, I don't know for sure what the overall average, but I can tell you half of our employees would qualify for that longevity pay. So half of
At the base amount?
at least at the base amount. More, I mean, it's distributed through the 3 categories.
Okay. How long are positions open once they are, how long do they remain open once they've been opened up?
We usually get, I mean, we usually don't have to keep them open longer than a kind of an average 3 or 4 week, advertising period. We get enough applicants to
Yeah,
fill
that's
them.
pretty short.
Yeah.
Okay. And then related to drought and the overcharge, I
Mhm.
think was the vocabulary. If there are additional fires, which in our neighborhood, we've already had fires multiple times. Are there additional funds allocated in the budget to combat those fires, or is that something that's more of a county level?
So we don't, the city doesn't operate the fire department. It's a separate special district. So, but if they're fighting fires within the city, they're obviously tapping into our water system. So, I mean, and there's no charge for that. That's just available for them. But that's the only role we would have in a fire inside the city.
Okay, great. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Approval of the tax levy. General fund operation is at 6.086 per 1,000. And that is maxed out at the legal limit and has been since what, 2005 or I don't remember the exact date. Been a while.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Let's see, 2005, 2006.
Okay. All right. And I think just about every municipality in the state is operating at this level. Anyway, I would entertain a motion to approve the rate per 1,000.
Second?
Ooh. Point toss. Has been moved by Lori Davis and seconded by Counselor Hayward to approve the rate at 6.0860 per thousand. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, unanimous. And
Do it, Doug.
what's that?
Never.
I got to vote.
Oh, Doug's all excited. All right, and now for the big one is approval of the budget. I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the budget.
Okay. Moved by Counselor Hayward and seconded by Ms. Davis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Budget is approved unanimously. And at this point, we're going to adjourn the Budget Committee. Do we want to take a break before we get into the next?
Let's
Roll
take
it.
5 minutes. Let's take 5 minutes. Some people need to pee. Like me.
Be 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
I'll throw all my food away. I have things to do.
Subtle hint.
He's dying.
They literally both
Hey, you
asked
were the
me,
ones
so-
complaining about taking a break.
Down to the hero.
Hit it, Brian.
Hit again. Well, technically, he's not the chair yet.
You.
All right. Going to call the Hermiston Urban Renewal Agency to order. And I do believe we have a quorum. At this time, we're going to elect a chairman, and at this time, I'll take nominations for Brian.
I nominate Brian Meisner for chair.
Second.
Okay, any others? All in favor?
Aye.
Only opposed? Okay, Mr. Meisner, it's all you.
Okay. Well, our first order of business then is to elect a secretary for the Hermiston Urban Renewal Agency.
I nominate Paul Wolverton.
Second.
Nominated by Mayor and seconded by Counselor McCarthy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Railroaded again. Okay, Clint, you're up.
Hey, good evening. We're here to consider tonight the budget for the Hermiston Urban Renewal Agency. No, it definitely is. I'm just not talking into it well enough, I think. So there are currently 3 urban renewal areas, and they're managed by the Hermiston Urban Renewal Agency. And what an urban renewal agency does, it's essentially a taxing district that operates outside of the city, city's authority. The city operates it, but it is set aside to identify specific geographic areas and then identify issues of blight or underdevelopment within those areas, and then utilize a portion of property tax revenues to fund certain identified projects within just those geographic areas. We have 3 of them. The most recent one is labeled on the map on your screens as North. Basically extends from Elm to Theater Lane along Highway 395. Then we have our downtown urban renewal area, which again basically covers what we consider our core downtown along Highway 395, extending basically from Highland to Ridgeway Avenue. And then the southwest urban renewal area, which is at the intersection of Feedville and Highway 207. These 3 districts are all funded through tax increment financing within their geographic areas. What a tax increment financing is when a district is formed, so like the downtown one in 2013 or the north one a couple of years back, you freeze the tax base in that geographic area. For instance, the downtown has a frozen tax base of about $42 million. Then as you do projects and the assessed value within that geographic region increases, every dollar of that tax increase funnels into the urban renewal district for funding additional projects. For the downtown, we're now at about 62 million in assessed value. So with developments like the hotel increasing the assessed value, we've had about a 25% increase in the assessed value of that district. The total budget for all 3 areas for this year is $6.4 million. That's a very good question. Yes, urban renewal areas are designed to function for 20 years. And then beyond that 20-year time, you have about another 5 to 7 years to continue retiring debt. And then at that point, then it is sunsetted. For budgetary purposes, we'll start with the
urban renewal area. It's our youngest area. It also has the biggest budget this year. We're budgeting $5.8 million for the construction of Northeast Aspen Avenue. This is actually the only project within the urban renewal district here. It is intended to help funnel traffic off of Highway 395 in the most congested area between Elm and Theater, basically aligning a new street with the entrance of Home Depot and then extending eastward to Northeast 4th Street to connect at Aspen Avenue, as well as connecting that new street to Northeast North Street behind Popeyes and Burger King, just helping to improve circulation in that area. After a long time, we finally have acquired the right-of-way as of May and April of this month. The deeds have been recorded. And so we are now back into finishing up our design of the street and some easement work with the Bureau of Reclamation, finishing that up. We plan to bid that winter of this year in the favorable wintertime bidding climate. The $5.8 million is the whole project. We will probably only construct the street portion this year. Signal work will come later as trip generation merits it.
Oh, yes.
In perspective, how long has this Aspen project been in consideration?
About 3 years now. For the downtown area, that's, as we said here in our central commercial. Oh, go ahead.
You're talking about just building the street. Does that include sidewalks, or are those going to wait for people to build there?
Sidewalk on the canal side of the street. So there will be a continuous sidewalk from 395 to 4th Street. And then sidewalk on the north side will be infilled as new businesses take advantage of the street.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
On the Nira, I see it was assessed at 43 million, now it's at 50. I probably attribute that to like Chipotle and the new buildings that just kind of came into that area.
It's mostly going to be Popeyes and Panda Express.
Okay.
Chipotle is too new to be on the tax rolls yet, but Popeyes, this would be their first year, and Panda Express has been on for 2.
Okay. Is the $5.8 million coming out of Nira then, or is it coming out of capital projects, or I guess?
It's its own fund. And so what happened is in 2022, 24, the city did a large capital improvement bond. And when that bond was done, they set aside an additional $5 million, which was then lent to the urban renewal district. And so that $5 million goes into paying for the street construction and then is paid back to the city through the increase in property tax revenues over the next 20 years.
Final question. I know you're getting into the downtown urban renewal district. Is Nira going to have kind of like an allocation similar to the one in downtown? I guess, are there going to be facade grants in Nira for other businesses in that area? Or I guess, what is the additional revenue going to be used for?
No, this is purely just paying back. It is a one project district, so it's the street and the signal. And then as tax revenues increase, as the area develops and as values go up, that debt will be retired. This one should be able to retire early.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And then the downtown area has a budget of 621,000. Of that, 102,000 is just debt service. We have debt service on 2 capital projects that we've done, the construction of the Festival Street and the realignment of Northeast 2nd Street and 395. So those loans need to be paid back over the time. We do have a project, as Councilor Barone was mentioning, called our facade grants, where businesses are able to apply and get matching funds as they're improving their exteriors. We have 60,000 in the budget for that this year. That is typically what we have been budgeting each year. We also had a request from our downtown merchant district for $3,000 to do hanging baskets. And landscaping has always been a priority in the urban renewal district, so I have put that in the budget for your consideration. And then 449,000 is our contingency to build savings for future projects. And I'll get to some of our thoughts on that here in a minute.
I just want to point out that 3,000 for the downtown landscaping. Before, if I'm not mistaken, is the Downtown Association that's come to our TRT committee requesting funds for these type of beautification type projects. So I think it's actually more appropriate that's coming out of here, urban renewal, than TRT, because I think those are more meant for bringing people into the city. And yes, the beautification, you can make an argument that that makes and attracts people to be coming into the city, but I think it's really more for bringing more heads and beds into the community, more events into the community. So I think this is a better, more appropriate place for it to come from.
Thank you. And then our final district is our southwest area. This one is about 5 years old now. It's at the corner of Feedville and Highway 207. This was a district that we formed for a residential project that was proposed at the time. That developer has since left and is not going to pursue this development. So at this point in time, we're not proposing any projects or expenses for the Southwest District right now. We have a budget of $2,100, and that is to accommodate essentially the small increase in assessed value within that area. We have to park that tax revenue until we have another developer or something changes with the plan for this district. And then finally, we have what is essentially the catch-all, the Urban Renewal Agency's general fund. We have the 3 districts, but then we also have our general fund to work on basically administrative overhead for the district. And we have a budget of $44,000 for the general fund this year, of which $40,000 we are putting in as essentially an update to our downtown plan. The downtown plan was formed in 2013. We've built pretty much all of the major capital projects that we had planned. We had planned wayfinding signage, which you see on our streets. We had planned the Festival Street. We'd planned a gateway, which we've built. But we still have about 8 years left in the district, and we have a pretty healthy budget. So we're proposing to go back and look at that 2013 plan and see where we can update it, engage with our downtown merchants and stakeholders, and see, are there new projects that we can do? Are there ways that we can treat the second half of the district's life with the same vigor that we had and the enthusiasm that we had in the first half? And then basically just $1,000 reserved because we have to do annual reporting on all of the budget. And that's the budget report for the Urban Renewal District.
Any of that money be able to the park?
It's possible that that money could go into Carnegie because museums are part of the overall urban renewal plan. We had several projects that were proposed: museums, walking paths, even arches. So there's a lot of things that we can do. But what we have seen and what the public has been saying is that with the downtown, what can we do for merchant attraction? So my personal feeling is with the second half, maybe we should be focusing on business development, but we haven't moved into that yet. So it's possible we could be looking at that as well.
Being used for, like, say, the facade part that has been ongoing, but for renovation of some of those 100-year-old buildings.
That'd be up to the property owner.
Down the alley in the back, some of them are crumbling. And have been for years.
It absolutely could be something that we could use it for. I actually had proposed that about 5 years ago to look at doing some alley renovations, and we had issues getting all of the landowners to come together because although they have a continuous facade, you have 8, 10 property owners, and so getting everybody to agree on a uniform look proved to be a challenge, and it always will. And that's part of what I think we can look at with our bringing in assistance to help with the plan, is to help do some of that outreach work. Okay. Thank you.
Seeing none, I would consider a motion to approve the budget.
Second?
Okay. Motion, moved by Counselor Hayward and seconded by Counselor McCarthy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for all of your participation.
Thank you very much.